Okay, here we go folks, another sparring video. This time it is myself and Garrett. Garrett is pictured on screen now and I should be on screen, there we go, in the old black. Starting off with some hand fighting. Garrett gets a 2-on-1. I try to keep inside head position here to help defend against the Russian Thai. Back into a double wrist control from me. Garrett tries to switch off to an arm drag and then a little shuck, and we're back out into this hand fighting position. I'm a little bit taller than him, so I need to be careful of my head position and hip height as well, so I don't let him get in underneath, in onto the legs. So you'll see me trying to mirror his position a fair bit in terms of head and hip height. We've both got a single collar tie, and then Garrett goes in here for a nice little fireman's carry, but I was able to change the angle, get heavy on the hips, get into a sort of a cradle almost for a second there. And then into a half guard here. Garrett's got the underhook, so I try and get a whizzer, and you'll see I try and plant his right arm on the floor with my left arm. This stops him coming up onto his elbow, so he can't stand up and come up onto a single leg. And the whizzer, of course, stopping the back take. I think here I've switched off to a D'Arce choke, it looks like. And if you can pass using the choke, that's the best way because you get more leverage to finish it, but I'm kind of stuck in half guard here. I think he's hand fighting, so I just don't feel like I've got it. So I don't want to pass while I don't have the underhook. So I'm just staying here for the moment. And then as I posture up and try to get my underhook, he frames and brings a knee shield in. And he's just keeping me away with his weight on his right hand side there. He's got his top arm framing. I stand up into a sort of a De La Riva type position here. He tries to come up on a single leg, gets the underhook. I went for a back step pass there, but he switched off to a single leg X, and nicely straight over into mount there. So just pop that inside knee down. He didn't have the foot on the hip properly at that point there, so I was able to get over to mount, and he's trying to put me into a half guard here. So I'm controlling the bottom arm, trying to squeeze tight with the legs and pull his arm up so he loses his leverage on my thigh so that he can't push me into half guard. Just there, very nice. But straight away he switches off to the other side, and I didn't have the position there, so I've switched off to a side mount or a modified technical mount. He tries a little backdoor escape, so I managed to get my foot basically across his face and into a mounted crucifix here, pinning the arm. Using this position now to try and work on either his neck or his free arm, which is the one we can see on screen now, his right arm. So you can see I'm just using a forearm choke there. If I get the choke, I get the choke, but not often that you get a high level person like Garrett with a forearm choke. So I switch off to the far side arm that I'm going to be attacking here. Switching my grip for a Kimura, but he's keeping his back on the floor, which makes it hard to finish. I switched off for a straight arm bar, but he bent out of that, so now I go into an Americana. But good movement from him getting onto his side. I went for a back take there, but got really high, so you had to see I bailed out there. No chance of getting the back then, I would have got thrown off. So I've just come back into the back turtle type position here on the side. And I'm trying to keep weight on Garrett's hands or his hips. As he goes to sit through, I tried to pull the weight back onto the hands and get him heavy so that he couldn't stand up. And I've got a power half Nelson and far side wrist control here. Just using that to pull his shoulder blades back down, and then from there I should hopefully be able to transition to a north-south position and attack the arm, which, yes, doing here. You can see I'm setting up another Kimura grip here. Garrett's very strong though, and I'm sort of trying not to rush it. I don't want to risk him coming up into turtle, which he went for there, that little turn, so I switch off to an arm bar, leaning towards the head to get me position to set the leg across his hips, but he manages to turn in, and I'm back with him in my closed guard. So a little posture break there, just pulling the elbows as I bring the knees into the chest. Now Garrett decides to block the forearms. So he's using that so he can keep his low posture and not have to worry about threats of attacks quite so much, so that he can stand up making a wedge with his knee in my tailbone, but I just shift the hips off a little bit there. Use that to bring him back down. Now there I kind of went for a little bit of an arm drag style sit-up sweep, combining that with a triangle threat, but Garrett was aware of that, postured up really nicely. And we're sort of in just an open feet on hips, kind of butterfly guard here at the moment. I'm trying to elevate so I can switch off to a single leg X, and then as Garrett turns, I went quickly just for a little calf crush attempt, but he managed to turn out nicely, and we're playing some seated guard here. Garrett trying to put pressure, controlling the posture, snap me down for a guillotine or something like that. So it caused me to flop back onto my back and play more of an open style guard. And as he presses in, I go to a knee shield half guard. Now here he's trying to use that little leg weave with his left hand there so he can go into a smash pass. As he came around there, caused a little bit of a reaction. And so now I try to come back to a seated position where there's not as much pressure. A little bit of a hand fight. You can see I'm trying to keep my head forward. I don't want to get snapped down again into a choke here, so I'm really trying to keep my head tucked back up, looking out, not letting him break my posture down. He steps through, going for a knee cut pass, but again you can kind of see that knee shield stopping his progress. He tries for that smash pass again, but I'm framing on the neck, gives me space to pull back into kind of like a lasso close guard type of thing here. And so I use the postural control and the thread of the lasso to help me set up an armbar, but he postures up out of it nicely. And we're back into kind of an open guard again. He goes into that knee cut position. And now I transition here into a reverse De La Riva, which sort of turns into a tornado guard. Went for a little bit of an omoplata setup, but it was a bit sloppy, so Garrett postured out, gets double underhooks here, and he's starting to put pressure on to pass, so I'm trying to look up. When someone's doing a double underhook pass, you want to try and lift your head back into the mat so you can slide away, and then he uses that to sit back onto this straight footlock. But I'm pulling myself in as I'm stepping over here, so I'm actually pulling my foot deeper into the lock so that he loses his position. And because I've stepped over his free leg, I try and use that to spin out, which I do, and then straight away try and pounce on that shoulder clamp, cutting armbar. And here, I give him just enough space. I'm setting it up, bang. Give him just enough space to posture up out of the first one. And as he thinks he's getting out, he goes straight into the second one, cutting armbar from closed guard. Really nice roll. All right, so hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and keep your eyes peeled for more.